Okay, so you're in full-time employment and you're looking for a new job. And also, worst case scenario, you've used up all your PTO time and you are literally stuck with a Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. working week. And you are struggling to not only job search, but you start to think, well, what if I get an interview? How am I going to attend it? I have a full time job. It's literally impossible for me to do anything else. In this video, I'm going to go through 6 or 7 different points that you can double down on in your full-time work job search phase of life. Okay, so it's going to be easier than you think. And if you follow these little strategies, I will unlock more time, decrease stress, and actually get you into work, your dream work, a lot faster than you think. So the first thing I want to talk about is being able to set boundaries. Now, it might seem like a really basic thing to do, but most full-time employees are focused full-time on their work. So setting boundaries might be the last thing they think about. And what do I mean by setting boundaries in your job search? You have pockets of time in a day that you can utilize outside of work, as long as you're diligent with that time. So for example, 8 a.m. to 8:15 a.m., you have 15 minutes to make 1 or 2 applications and reach out to maybe 2 or 3 people. If you're really diligent with that time, you can make that happen relatively easily without it impacting your work. Now, if you want to go a little step further, you can use something called a Pomodoro timer. This is something I personally use. It runs for 25 minutes as a timer. You push all the work that you want to do for that one particular task, and it gives you a 5-minute break. Now, in that 5-minute break, you can get ready for work, you can do whatever you need to do, but you've got 8 a.m. to 8:30, Pomodoro timer, 25 minutes of pure hustle and work, make applications, reach out to people, do what you need to do. Now, if you want to do a little bit of a job search sandwich, you can do 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. And when you get home from work, do whatever you need to do, or if you're working remotely, do your other stuff, watch Netflix, reach out to people, go out with friends. But 8 p.m. to 8:30, you do the same thing again. You have unlocked 1 hour of extra time in a day, and you don't have to do this for a long time. This is not for an indefinite until the end of time. This is just until you find that role. So if you really structure a setting of boundary effectively, you will be in a position where you will be able to double down a 1 hour a day schedule of job search, and you will do more than most people that are sporadic, that literally have no plan or strategy. So the first thing is being able to set boundaries. Another thing to think about is when you're going to do interviews. So let's say your setting of boundary game is done. You're 8 a.m. to 8:30. You're like a job search ninja. 8 p.m. to 8:30, you're making applications, reaching out to people, scheduling meetings. Things are going well. But then you think, well, how am I going to do these interviews? How am I going to do these meetings? It just doesn't make sense because I'm working all the time. Yes, I can chalk out that time, but who can do a meeting before 9 a.m.? And who wants to do a meeting in 8 p.m., 9 p.m. in the evening? Nobody does, right? So you need to become that job search ninja. So you need to chalk out a period of time in the day where you can do more than you initially thought you could. Now, when is the best time of day to do that? Lunchtime. Now, you might have your favorite spot, or you go out with your colleagues, or you eat from work, or you eat from home, or wherever you take your lunch. You need to structure a 1 hour time that you can do a meeting on Zoom uninterrupted in a safe place that's quiet, where you can think clearly and show up as the best self. Now, most of the viewers on this channel actually work in major cities around the world. We're talking London, we're talking New York, we're talking LA, we're talking parts of Europe, wherever. But chances are you're in employment, you're probably physically somewhere rather than doing remote, or some of you are remote. But you can find a coffee shop that isn't too crowded, that doesn't have too much foot traffic, that you're comfortable in, that you can make a habit of spending time with your laptop, doing a Zoom meeting if you need to, where you can be uninterrupted. It's really about getting into the process of just getting used to going to that place and getting used to spending 15 minutes there before you have to rush back to work. If you develop the muscle and consistency of going to that place, opening up your laptop, doing Zoom meetings, the work you do at 8 to 8:30 a.m. in terms of application and outreach, 8 to 8:30 p.m. applications and outreach could all come through to that 1 hour meeting point that you can have at your lunch. It doesn't have to be an hour, it could be 20 minutes, it could be half an hour, but it's a good place to work. So you have to find that place, you have to feel comfortable in that place, and you have to be able to structure your day ahead of time. Another thing is leveraging your current role. A lot of you don't think about this, where you might be in employment right now and you might not like the job you do for whatever reason. You've got a toxic boss, the manager isn't nice to you, you just don't like the company, you might not like the role itself. It doesn't mean that there's another role in the company that you do not want to do equally as much, right? So there could be another opportunity in the same company that you can move to. And many people overlook this because they think that the job they do in that particular department is the exact same if they do a different job in a different department. It's probably not. So it's easier to get into a role in the same company, but a different role at that. So people already know that you work for the company. They probably know about you. There's probably an internal reference process you can take, or even if you just speak to people at networking events in the current company, you can move from one role to another much, much more effectively. And that's things that are usually, overlooked quite a lot. The other thing I want to speak about is the art of confidentiality. There's another thing people really shoot themselves in the foot of. Art of confidentiality, meaning that you should not trust everybody in your work. Let me give you like a blanket rule to follow. That's super simple and easy, and make sure that you don't get that random invite from head of HR saying, hey, we need to talk, because we all know that that's not a good idea. And also it tends to happen on Fridays, but that's another video. Head of HR, CEOs, founders, colleagues, everybody, don't tell anyone that you want to leave. If you've made a mistake of doing that, let's just not spread it even more. But if you're thinking about leaving your work, a good idea is not to tell any single person at work. Let's just completely guarantee that the secret won't come out, right? So don't tell anyone. If you have to talk to people outside of your work that are not connected to anybody in your work. It's much easier, because the amount of people I've spoken to that have told me, hey, I need to leave my employment now because they found out that I want to go. And then I ask, how do they find out? Well, I told my best friend at work, and that best friend wasn't really a best friend. The moment they found out, they told the head of HR, they got a promotion because they could pick up extra responsibilities after you get fired. It happens a lot, and it's really, really sad. So the best way to mitigate that and eliminate it completely is just don't tell anyone. It's super simple in that regard. Right, so we have celebrating wins. I've got a bit of a list here that I want to get through because this is really specific stuff and really actionable. Celebrating wins. You need to celebrate every single win you get, because mini wins and instant gratification are so important when you're job searching. So you get a good response from someone, it's a mini win. You get your application shortlisted, it's a mini win. You get someone doing a screening call, even if it doesn't go anywhere, this is traction. This is where you're moving forward. The right steps are being taken and you're moving in the right direction. So this is stuff you want to keep doubling down on. If you double down in the right way, you will build all of those mini wins into more confidence. It starts to chip away at an imposter syndrome. It starts to chip away at fear. It starts to increase who you are as your best self. So when you do get an interview, people are actually saying, you know what, you are exactly what we're looking for. So that definitely wins. Mindset, following mini wins very quickly. Mindset is everything. If your mindset is in the dumps, then there's no chance of you getting an interview and passing that interview. Imagine doing all this work, 8 a.m., 8:30 a.m., 8 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. You structure your interviews on the lunch period break that you have. You found this little coffee shop, everything's great. But then your mindset is crap. And you get that interview after all the hard work you've done, and you're exhausted, and you just don't feel like you're going to get the job. It's just all that work for nothing. So mindset is probably arguably the most important thing to think about. If you have the right mindset, you can move mountains. Okay. So if you're if you're interviewed for a role that requires more experience than you have, and then they're going to be judging you on how competent you are as an individual in terms of wanting to do the job, your motivation, your confidence, and your mindset is crap, you're not going to get the job. It's as simple as that, which is a little bit of a shame, because I know you can do it, depending on what type of role you want to go. So If you want to be a doctor and you have zero medical experience, probably don't recommend it. But if you're looking for a role that requires 2 years of experience, more than you have, and you're doing a position right now and you've got 5 years of experience, or if you're a graduate or if you're a CEO, whatever it is, mindset shapes the next step. And also, like a little bit of a hack to this is AI is changing the hard skills that are required for the roles you want to do. So if there's a job that requires 5 years of experience, if you're AI adept, you will be able to do the role even at 2 years of experience if you can just showcase that you're a fast learner. And if you get more interviews and you reach out to more people, you will just have better chances. And my final point is actually reaching out to more people. Informational calls, informational interviews. You don't have to have a meeting with someone just after you make an application. You could reach out to people who don't know about you via an application. You can reach out to them via your LinkedIn profile. So finding out people who work in companies you want to work in and reaching out to them and asking questions about projects, about what they look for, company culture fit, will score you responses. And if you handle those responses effectively, you can get meetings with them. It could be as simple as you asking. So you get a response, an answer to a question. Hey, we're looking for people with this experience. You can literally say, I'm so glad you mentioned that. I have that experience. I'm just about to make an application. Could we have a 5-minute call before I do that? Because that person might think, well, if he makes an application or she makes an application, she might get a job. And if I don't give them 5 minutes now, it's going to be pretty awkward if I end up working with this person. So they're going to say yes, not just on the basis of that, but people are good. Not everybody, but I think good people that work in good companies are inherently good. So reaching out and being direct and respecting their time and asking for that 5-minute meeting actually is a good thing. Not everybody will say yes. Some people will. You might have 3 or 4 meetings. You might be able to structure those at your lunchtime. You might have a mini win. They'll say, you're great. Let me put you forward. You get a referral. You get an interview. The amount of people that I work with, and link in the description if you want to work with me, I can create a strategy that you can follow on a daily basis around your time. So if you're fully employed and you have a specific amount of time, I will structure your job search for you. I'll tell you who to reach out to, what to say, how to say it. I'll get my team to work on your resume. So link in the description if you want to work on that. Now look, before I go, another thing I want to ask you, between you and me, like and subscribe. It literally creates more confidence for me to do more of these videos for you. And I would love to keep creating these for you. And if there's any subject you want me to talk about, let me know in the comments. I'll see you on the next one.